Going to start my lecture. So you know that international relations are very much essential in this globalized world, without which no state can survive. You know that this is the basic thing about the international relations. So for maintaining the effective international relations, every state has to formulate a foreign policy. Therefore, every state gives a special attention to the careful formulation and successful execution of its foreign policy. Because a successful foreign policy not only improves the nation's power, but also enhances the goodwill towards the nations. Goodwill towards the nations. Therefore, the foreign policies have become one of the most important core fields in the study of international relations. So therefore, the foreign policies have become one of the most important core fields in the study of international relations. In this lecture, particularly, we are going to discuss about the various factors which determine the foreign policies of the nations. Okay, so what are the factors? What are the importance of the how these factors influence the foreign policies of the nation? So that thing only we are going to discuss in this lecture. So before it is very essential to understand about foreign policy. So there is a need to know the meaning of foreign policy. So what is foreign policy? You know, basically what is foreign policy? It is the policy of the nation toward the other nations in the international system, how to behave in the international system. So there are two definitions we will discuss relating to the foreign policy. Foreign policy is the key element in the process in the process by which a state translates its broadly conceived goals and interests into concrete courses of action to attain those objectives and preserve its interests. So it is the definition given by Fedell Ford and the Lincoln. So next thing is the next definitions given by Skelcher. So he defined in the broadest sense, it includes the objectives, plans, and actions taken by the state relative to its external relationship. So these are the two definitions relating to the foreign policies of the nations. So there are a lot of definitions available relating to the foreign policies. From many other definitions, we observe that the foreign policy means every state decide its own course of action in the international relations in the light of its means and ends. Then it conducts its foreign relations and behave at international level and regulates the behavior and action of other states according to that action plan. So this is the definition. This is the theme relating to the foreign policy. So based on the many definitions, what I observed. So it is the light of means and ends towards the other nations. Okay. So the next we will move on. Next we will move on the objectives of the foreign policy. Why it is necessary? What are the aims of the foreign policy? What are the objectives relating to foreign policy? That thing we are going to discuss. Here there is a need to identify the goal or end of foreign policy because these objectives are related to end of the foreign policies. So and this will guide how to formulate and execute the foreign policies. Okay. So the objectives means what? So how to behave, how to formulate, what is the basis for the formulation of foreign policies? What are the things to need to achieve by the nations with the use of the foreign policies? So that thing is relating to the objectives of foreign policies. So related to this matter, I would like to tell one thing, that is national interest, you know what is national interest? So the national interest articulated the objectives of foreign policy. So what do you mean by national interest? Many times I told in the class, I think. So the national interest means interest of the community, interest of the nation. So this national, uh, this, wait a minute, I will admit some students. So the national interest means the interest of the community, interest of the nation. So this national interest guides the policymakers to formulate the objectives of foreign policy. So the national interest may be defined as the general and the continuing ends for the attainment of which a nation conducts its foreign relations. It includes such as matter relating to security against aggression, development of higher standards of living, and the maintenance of conditions of national and international stability. So foreign policy is unimaginable, unthinkable without national interest. So because it is closely related with national interest. Which one? Foreign policy. So because the foreign policies are made based on the national interest. So that is why I told foreign policy is unimaginable, unthinkable without national interest. At the same time, it must be clarified that national interest does not exclude the significance of international obligation. So especially in the present day world. So the national interest, the foreign policy must adhere to be framed within the international limit. So international obligation. Okay. So, but the objectives are the product of national interest, but there is a need to consider the significance of international obligation. Okay. Now I think you're clear about what is the driving force behind the creation of foreign policy. So nothing. It is national interest, because the national interest play a major role behind the formulation of foreign policies, because this national interest only guide the policymaker to frame policy. Okay. So the next thing is there are some common objectives of foreign policy of nations. There are 5 major objectives for the foreign policy of all the nations. The first one is maintaining the integrity of the state, maintaining the integrity of state. The second one is promoting the economic interest, and the third one is providing for national security, and the fourth one is protecting national prestige and developing national power, and the last one is maintaining the world order. So these are the primary objectives of each and every nation. Do you clear? I think so, because these are the primary objectives. These are common objectives of foreign policies of all the nations. So each and every nation concentrating for these aspects only. Okay. So there are some factors. There are some of the factors we should keep in mind before making foreign policy. The first one is something we should keep in our mind to framing the foreign policies. So there are many elements of foreign policy, the most important of which are defense, diplomatic, economic interest. So I classified these things under the prerequisites. So what are the things should we need to keep in our mind to frame the objectives as well as the foreign policies? So I put these things under the prerequisites. Okay. So there are many elements of foreign policy, the most important of which are defense, diplomatic, and economic interest. Although these elements are unique, they are not mutually exclusive, but they often interact with each other and are strongly influenced one by another. So the next thing is foreign policy never operates in the vacuum. Rather, it is conditional by an environment. So it is not operate in any vacuum sphere. So it is act in any environment. So both domestic and external. So the domestic environment consists of, it is political parties, pressure groups, a rival bureaucrat organization, public opinion, political culture, etc. So these are classified under the um, domestic factors, and the external environment comprises among other subsystemic actors, neighboring states, and other belonging to the region, and superpowers on international organization, especially the UN, World Bank, IMF, and the regional organization, etc., etc. So these things we need to keep in our mind before framing the objectives of foreign policies. Okay, so the next thing is, foreign policy is made in the name of a state, but it is the government which really formulates and executes it. So the foreign policy created in the name of the state, in the name of India, for example, you take in the name of India, but who framed it, who developed it? The government of India. So that is why, but it is the government which really formulates and executes it. So the government is not an inanimate body. It is a combination of organization and individuals having their organizational and personal interests, which are not necessarily similar. So the foreign policy is relating to the government of the particular state. And the next thing is, in government means, it is relating to, in government, it is some individuals around whom foreign policy making revolves. For example, for making the foreign policy, who is play the major role? If the government of India wants to make a foreign policy towards the USA or USSR, who play the major role in this time? Definitely it is Prime Minister. Our Modi ji will play the major role. So that is why the government means it is revolves around the some heads. So it may be the president or the prime minister or the king of the state and his foreign minister, advisors and subordinates. Mostly the head of the government. In, for example, the prime minister in India, because it is the parliamentary form of government. President in USA, because that is presidential form of government. So these people are play the prominent role in this regard. Okay, I think, do you clear about the things which we should keep in our mind to frame the foreign policies? So the next thing relating to this, the foreign policies always involve two things that involves both decision and action. So, and decision is the most important element. Action on behalf of the objective can only result from policy, which clearly indicates both the goal and the practice the decision maker had in mind of the policy maker. So it is relating to two areas, two things. One is decision and another one is action. So yeah, always that action is depending upon the decision. After taking the decision only, you may act. So that is why these two things are necessary. Okay, and another thing is, foreign policy has to be examined from actual behavior pattern of states rather than exclusively from declared objectives or the policy plans. Okay, so well, I hope that you understood what to keep in mind when you make the foreign policy. So these things, whatever I told previously, the things we should keep in our mind to frame the objectives or to formulate the foreign policies. Okay, so the next we are going to discuss about the instruments of foreign policy. So we will look at next the instruments of foreign policy. Wait, admit. So the instruments of foreign policy. So the instruments of foreign policy may be said to be those institutions or devices through which the national power or resources are used for the accomplishment of the interests and objectives. So these are the tools. These are the mechanisms. These are the instrument is used to frame the foreign policies. These are the mechanism which is you. Which these mechanism are used to objective the goal of the particular nations in the international relations. So these instrument of foreign policy may be said to those institutions or devices through which the national power or the resources are used for the accomplishment of the interests and objectives. So there are a lot of instruments. It is in the display. The instrument are diplomacy, public publicity and propaganda, balance of power, collective security, and international law and organization, economic and non-political methods, war and peace. So these are some of the tools or some of the instrument for framing or formulating the foreign policies. Let us discuss one by one. Okay. So first we will move on to the diplomacy. You know these things, most of the things we discussed in our class. So what is diplomacy? What is diplomacy? The diplomacy is the art and practice of conducting negotiation between representatives of state. Diplomacy. So diplomacy means it is the study about diplomats, how the diplomat act. So that is why I am telling the art and the practice of conducting the negotiation between the representatives of the state. It usually refers to the conduct of international relations through the intercession of professional diplomats with regard to a full range of topical issues. Good diplomats, ambassadors, envoys, ministers, etc. are the example of diplomats, and through their art of diplomacy can put countries' viewpoint effectively before the world. Okay, so those who are participate in the diplomatic activity, based on their knowledge, based on their potential, they will clarify their view before the international system about our nation. So that is why diplomats fulfill foreign policy objectives by means of mutual negotiation and thus spare their country from resorting to coercive method. So when the diplomat function in an effective way, it will prevent the war, because the issue is sorted out with mutual negotiations. So that is why diplomacy reduces the area of disagreement and misunderstanding with other states. It is the instrumental in reaching out agreements, treaties, and pacts with other nations. So that is why the diplomacy play its role both during war and please all are requested to mute your Smriti, please. Okay. So what I told, and diplomacy reduces the area of disagreement because it prevents the war. It prevents the conflict when he acts effectively. When he acts effectively, the diplomat prevent the war because the issues are solved with the mutual the mutual negotiations. Okay. The next, the instrument of foreign policy is publicity and propaganda. You know what is publicity and propaganda, because in these days, everyone know about the way of publicity and propaganda. So this can be used steadily to compact and break down the undesirable attitudes and opinions and to create the desired attitudes and opinions. For example, you take the issue on Kashmir. Pakistan spread wrong propaganda over India. On the other side, to counter it, India explained the facts of the issue through television, radio, magazines, and other literatures. Therefore, The propaganda is also used as an instrument of foreign policy. I think in the class I told so that that issue is solved with the use of the propaganda. In what way the diplomatic the activities of Modi in the international relations. So okay, so thus these three factors, what are that? Diplomacy, publicity and propaganda are employed by a nation for building up its public relations, for removing undesirable or discreditable factors like embracement, misunderstanding, suspicion, fear, etc., between itself and other nations. So, and for projecting a favorable and acceptable image to other nations. So, these also help in increasing the power and prestige of the nation. Okay. So, the next instrument of foreign policy is balance of power. So, what is balance of power? Already, it is the power balancing. Power balancing. So, it is the international system in which the states are joined together. The purpose of the states coalition is to prevent the other state exploit other state become the more powerful one. So you know that what is balance of power. So balance of power is a system of international relation in which states seek security through internal build-up of power or by alliances with other state. What is the purpose? To prevent one state from accumulating too much of power. So it is the main objective of the balance of power, to prevent one state from accumulating too much of power. So this method is used for avoiding imbalance of power and strengthening the position of given nation. For example, the Britain employed these principles of balance of power for a long time in the European power politics in order to maintain the status quo and prevent any particular power from being too strong. Okay, so the continuation to the balance of power, the next instrument of foreign policy is collective security. So you know what is collective security? Collective security is a system in which the nations bond together and pledge to join together against a nation that attacks one of the nation. And examples of collective security is a group of 3 nations who band together against the enemy. So, for example, you take the NATO is one of the best example of collective security is a group of the balance of power. So the balance of power and collective security are extremely useful as instruments for smaller nations which have a limited capacity to defend themselves. You know what is collective security? The countries join together. The countries join together whenever they face any threats from externally. These countries join together and fight over the external threats. Okay, so this is collective security. So this is also the instrument which drive the national foreign policy of the nation. So continue to that, the next tool of foreign policy is international law and organization. So these are also used by nation whenever possible for advancing the objectives of their foreign policy. During the post-war period, Britain and France used the League of Nations to maintain status quo, which was in their favor. Now we see that a number of third world countries are using the platform of United Nations for some of the basic goals of their foreign policies: anti-colonialism, anti-racialism, disarmament, and so on. So it is nothing. So whenever the system favor to a particular nation, the countries used that system, used that law in favor of their foreign policies. Okay, so for example, you take the Americans stand against anti-terrorism activities because the system or the international laws are against the anti-terrorist activities. So that is why the America used that system in favor of their foreign policies. So that is why the international law and organization also the favorable one of the driving force of or the determining factor of the foreign policy. The next instrument of foreign policy is uh, economic and non-political method. Economic and non-political method. It is related to various economic methods are also adopted by various nations to achieve their foreign policy objectives and also to harm the interests of opponents. Sometimes nation also exploit religious, cultural, and ethnic affinity to fulfill the foreign policy objectives. So the economic and non-political method. Economic non-political means it is cultural and religious or the ethnic factor. These are used by the nations in favor of their foreign policy. Okay. So the final instrument of foreign policy is peace and war. So these are the main two concepts relating to the international relations. What is that? You know, one is peace and another one is war. So these are the main two themes: peace or war, conflict or the cooperation. So the war and peace are a kind of final response to the problems of foreign policy. And peace is the beginning of a fundamental shift in the foreign policy of the countries involved. But war is usually devastating response to the problems of a country foreign policy. When the countries go to war, whenever the countries failed to achieve its national interest or its national interest, or whenever the countries failed to execute its plan through a cooperative way or in a peaceful way, the countries move on the war. Okay, so when the objectives of foreign policy cannot met by any other means, the nations resort to war as the ultimate argument. So this is the final step. This is the final step in the final step. Okay, so to move on to the war. So the next we need to discuss about the determinants. Next significant concepts relating to the study of foreign policy is the determinants of foreign policy. The determinants of foreign policy. Determinants of foreign policy. So the determinants, the foreign policy of the state is determined by a number of factors. These important determinants having bearing on foreign policy can be broadly classified into three broad categories. What are that? General or objective, specific or subjective or internal, and the last one is external factor. So these are the three factors, three factors which determine the foreign policy. So we will discuss one by one. Okay, so the general and objective factors determine the framework in which policy choices are to be made and operated. These are the factors which are common to all the countries in determining their foreign policy. Which one? The general or objective factor. So this is the common factor. So for achieving the common things, this is the common one. It is applicable to all the nations. So that is these factors which are common to all the countries in determining their foreign policy, while the specific and subjective factors vary from country to country in accordance with their internal conditions and needs. These specific factors determine the specific response of leadership to a particular situation and therefore indicate the direction of foreign policy. And the last one is some of the external factor. There are some external factors. What it is. Hey, don't Rahul Kannan. Okay. So there are some external factors also that influence a country's foreign policy. All these factors are of great significance and they clearly indicate that foreign policy can never be satisfactorily explained by any simple determinant. Okay, there is a need because this is a very, very important aspect in this today's lecture. We will discuss each determining factor in detail. So the first category in the general or the objective determinants. The first category is general and objective determinants. Again, this general and objective category is classified into four categories. That is sovereignty and integrity of the state, interdependence of the state, promotion of national interest, and internal and external conditions. So these are classified under general and objective determinants. Okay, so these factors only play the major role in the foreign policy formulations. Do you clear? So these are the factors. These are the factors. These are the determinants of one policy of one nation towards other states in the and how to relate the other state in the how to behave in the international system. Okay, so the first one is sovereignty and the integrity of the state. uh, you know basically how much importance of sovereignty and integrity of the state. The first factor that every state keeps in mind while formulating foreign policy is the safeguarding of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. It is the main responsibility of the state to safeguard the property of citizens and to protect their interests also they are. So it is the primary duty of the state to protect the property of the citizens, to protect the property, to protect its territory, territorial boundary. So this is why it is very, very primary aspect. So this responsibility also involves the concept of security. Agesh, Agas V, mute your mic. Okay. What I told, sovereignty. So this is the responsibility. This responsibility also involves the concept of security of national boundaries and if necessary to occupy other alien part of the territory. The states aiming at the protection of their own territory pursue the policy of status quo. The states, there are two things relating to this idea, expansionist policy and prestigious policy. The states endeavoring to subjugate occupied or non-occupied territory may be named as pursuing the expansionist policy. The second one is the policy of safeguarding the interests of the citizens inside or outside the state is known as the policy of prestige. So just you remember that this is the ultimate aim or the ultimate duty of each and every state. The word itself I told it is the ultimate because it ultimate means it is relating to the sovereignty. It is whenever any threats against our property, our life of the state react to that and the state must move towards the war. So that is why the foreign policy is framed. The first and primary thing is to protecting the sovereignty and integrity of the state. The second one is interdependence of the state. This is the second factor. All the states, whether big or small, rich or poor, are dependent on one another for one or the other reasons. So this interdependence may result in conflict or the cooperation. For example, there is a relationship between India and Pakistan and India and Sri Lanka. Okay, So India and Pakistan, there is some relationship. It is in the basis of conflict, and in Sri Lanka, in the basis of cooperation. So the states under the stress attempt to create a situation under which the international behavior may not be broken completely. So when the India framed the policy towards the Pakistan, it may vary from the policy framed towards the Sri Lanka. Okay, so one is friendly nation, the another one is enemy nation. Okay, so that is why they may vary. So that is why interdependence, how the state depending upon the other state, is also the play the major role for framing the foreign policy. So that is why the foreign policy is formulated in such a way as to maintain a balance with bargaining. For example, you take, or it is one of the very good example which I would like to tell. So India did not recognize Israel for long. What is the reason? Because to dissuade the Arab countries from siding with Pakistan in the event of Indo-Pak dispute. Okay, so the next determining factor is the promotion of national interest. It is the primary duty of all states to promote their national interest through their foreign policy. I remember many times I asked in the class, what is the what is national interest and what is a national interest? So the national interest means interest of the nation. You know that the ultimate interest of every nation is to become superpower, to become political hegemon. You know that. Okay. So promotion of national interest. So each and every country concentrate or identifies the way to promote its national interest. For promoting its national interest, they frame the foreign policy. It is the primary duty of all the state. So there may be difference between the interest of one state with another state, as they naturally vary according to time, place, location, and circumstances. But the interest as self-preservation, security, and well-being of its citizens are the common interest. And one more thing I told, to become the superpower is the ultimate interest of each and every nation, on the basis of which the foreign policy is generally made. So you know what is game theory, how to benefit from the with that policy. So that is the ultimate aim. In what way we will get benefit in that negotiation, in that agreement. So that is also considerable. Okay, so the factor is promotion of national interest. They seek the way, they tries, they identifies the ways to promote their national interest. For achieving the national interest, they will frame the policy. So that is why one of the determining factor is national interest. And the next one is internal and external conditions. The another factor which determine the foreign policy is internal and external condition. Foreign policy of every state is conditioned by certain internal and external factors. Internal factors include geography, population, economic needs, ideology, history and culture, military capacity, social structure, personalities, public opinion, etc. So this is in your syllabus, you know, it is the first point of in your fifth unit syllabus. So the internal factors, that is domestic factors, which include geography, population, so economic needs, ideology, history and culture, military capacity, social structure, personalities, public opinion, etc. Are also determine foreign policies. The external factors are the global. The external factors are global environment, great power structure, alliances, international organization, world public opinion, reaction of other states, etc. are considered as the external factor. The degree of influence of this factor on the foreign policy may vary from country to country. Okay, so that is why we are going to discuss in detail in the important factor under specific or the subjective or the internal factors. Okay, next we will move on in this aspect. This is very, very important because it play a major role. The specific or subjective or internal factor. So these are relating to the domestic factor. Every state has its own specific interests that require specific decision in foreign policy making. A state may be facing certain problems and difficulties and therefore has to take several internal factors into consideration while formulating its foreign policies. So these internal factors are also known as subjective or the special factors and may differ from one state to another state. So general or the objective factors are the common in each and every nation, concentrating that um, general or objective factors are the determinants play the role in all the states, each and every nation. But this specific or the subjective or the internal determinants play in the specific states based on their environment, based on their geography. Okay, so it may vary from one state to another state. So first of all, we are going to discuss about geography. How the geography plays the role in determining the foreign policy. So a permanent and stable the geography is the permanent and stable determinant of foreign permanent and stable determinant of foreign policy is geography. It determines the temperature, resources, frontiers, and neighbors, the size of the state, topography, shape, location, and climate are important components of the geography. A size large enough to support a population sufficient to man an adequate military establishment. The common man also know which is big country. If you ask the question like which is the big country, the common man, ordinary man will tell based on its geographical area. Okay, so that is why the size is also a determining factor. And the climate, next one is a climate which is uniform and conducive to physical vigor, preferably either temperature or tropical highland. For example, you take so in for example, the climate also determine the policies. Okay, so the next one is topography. Topography offering boundaries with the natural defense barrier such as mountains, forests, swamps, rivers, deserts, and oceans. A shape which is compact rather than disintegrated or scattered and thus easier to defend. Provide part of the necessary power potential, allowing a state to pursue an independent foreign policy. For example, you take India. India is surrounded by trees, in trees and one side the mountain. So India is easily accessible by the international border. Whenever they want, they transport the goods to the international any states. If you take Bangladesh, its situation is difficult because always it depends upon either China or India. Okay, because it is surrounded by the states. So that is why topography or the location is very, very important to frame the foreign policies, because Bangladesh always depending upon the neighbors. Okay, so the next thing is location is the next thing is history. Another guide to foreign policy is the history of the country. From the history alone, the nation inherits a style and culture which in turn influence the foreign policy making. You know that history only provide the accumulated knowledge, the wisdom about the past, about the what happenings in the past. So this accumulator, based on this accumulated knowledge, based on that knowledge only, the foreign policy makers make the policies. So it means the past experience, failures and successes guide the policymakers to deal with the present problems. You know that how history helps to the helps to frame the policies, because it provides the practical experience what happened in that day. Based on the result of that day, the policymaker take the decision. Okay, so they decide in the present situation. So if a specific policy had proved to be rewarding in the past, policymakers would like to try the same policy for tackling similar situation in future. On the contrary, if a particular policy had proved to be a failure to deal with the situation, the policymakers would try a different policy under an identical situation in future. It is common thing, you know, we are also practicing like that. Okay. So next, another important specific factor is population. Population. Okay. So population as a determinant of foreign policy is relevant both in quantitative and qualitative terms. So how population is played a major role. There are some drawbacks also, we will discuss later. But the population, when the human resources is an asset. So for industrial development, for the military capacity, for whatever it is, which is necessary, human resources. So that is why the population is also one of the important determining factor. So the political, economic, and military phases of a nation foreign policy is also molded by the size, character, and the distribution of its population. It is believed that the greater number of population, the greater will be its power. So the manpower determines the standard of living, values, the way of life, and even expectation of nation. So the leadership and even execution of foreign policy, the significance of China and India rests partly on the large size of their population. So these two countries play the major role in international sphere. The next one is natural resources. Natural resources, food, minerals, metal, coal, crude oil, water resources, minerals, metal, crude oil, water resources constitute an important element of national power and consequently of foreign policy. Availability of these resources enhances the importance of country. For example, the presence of petroleum has significantly strengthened the position of West Asian countries in international relations. So the next we will move on economic factors. Economic factors. Today, no state in the world can boast of economic self-sufficiency. Even the United States is greatly dependent upon the world trade for economic prosperity. This mutual interdependence of the economies also works as a determinant of foreign policy. So you know how much economics is how much important. So the ultimate aim of every nation is to become superpower. To become superpower, what is necessary? Economic factor. If one country is self-sufficient with economic activities, it will purchase military activities and it will enhance other such factors. So that is why the economic factor play the major role. And the next one is development. So usually a developed nation tends to follow an independent foreign policy, whereas a backward nation is inclined to pursue a dependency policy. So you know that. What do you know? So the developed nation frame the independent foreign policy. Independent foreign policy. So it did not depend. It did not depend upon any underdeveloped or developed nations. Okay. So the developed nation also influence the foreign policies of other nations. For example, you take this. For example, you take. However, security is a relative term, and even the most powerful nations perhaps does not feel fully secure. Many a time, developed nations like Britain and France are not able to follow independent foreign policies. They are often required to toe the line of NATO dictated by the United States. So that is why development, whenever the developed nations may influence the underdeveloped or developing the nations. So that is why development. The next thing is national and military capacity. It includes the military preparedness of the state, its technological advancement and modern means of communication. The economic development and enlightened political institutions are also associated with the national capacity. States with States with adequate military capacity will have greater initiative and bargaining power in foreign policy matter. And the next one is ideology. It is commonly believed. So the democracy, communism, socialism. So these are the ideology. Whenever the ideology also play the major role for the determining the foreign policy, because you know that the democratic states favors for some democratic countries. So the communist states in favor of some communist countries. So even though the war occurred in many times during the during the Cold War era. So even though the war occurred during the Cold War period, to compel to follow the ideology. For example, communalism or the democracy or the liberalism. And the next factor is public opinion. You know what is public opinion? It is the opinion of the general public, especially in democratic countries. Public opinion cannot be ignored as one of the determinants of foreign policy. So it was the force of public opinion in the United States politics that compelled the government to order withdrawal of the American forces from the South Vietnam. You know, another very good example of public opinion. So the issue of Jallikattu, what happened, you know, what happened during the Jallikattu. So how the public opinion influences the policies of the state. So you applied it to international system. Okay, international to framing the foreign policies. So the public opinion influences the state behavior to frame the policy towards the other nation. For example, you take the opinion of people in Tamil Nadu, compel the government of India to make policies in favor of Sri Lankan Tamils. So that is one of the example how the public opinion influence the foreign policies. And the next one is the decision maker. The attitude of policy and decision maker is also carried weight. The leadership determines the strength and the direction of a foreign policy. You know that. So leader. So for example, I already told who play the major role for framing the India and foreign policy in these days. The prime minister. Absolutely the prime minister. So the decision maker who is in the position of decision making, the leaders of the particular country. They also influence, they also determining the foreign policy. For example, if Modi told to keep friendship with Pakistan, means the India move friendly towards the Pakistan, friendly approach towards the Pakistan. Okay, so that is why the decision maker also play the major role in the determination of foreign policy. And the next one is domestic instability is the last determining factor in this category. Sometimes the domestic instability also works as a determinant of foreign policy. Quincy Wright, he is one of the eminent scholar of international politics, politics as well as war, has observed that a ruler prevents agitation by making external war. It is a common saying in India that Pakistan has been continuously following an aggressive and hostile attitude towards India, as it has never been able to deal with numerous internal issues challenging its very legitimacy and existence. Some Pakistani also allege the same thing about the India. Okay, so these things. Next, we will move on some of the external factor which influence the foreign policy of a particular nation. So external factor, There are classified under 4 categories. One is international organization. The next one is world public opinion, reaction of other states, other external factors. First of all, we will move to international organization. This include international law, the UNO and its activity, UNESCO, International Labour Organization, World Health Organization, IMF, etc. are the examples of international organization. Sorry, pa.
தம்பி காட்டுங்க சார் வரேன்றோம்.
These include international. The nations cannot completely ignore international law, treaties, and contracts that their violation may not put in danger and policies. Almost all countries are also members of UNO. Decision and activities affect the foreign policy of many nations. It is the common thing. So how the international organization bind the nation states. So how the international treaties are also international treaties binds the nation state. Okay, so next thing is reaction, world public opinion. I already told public opinion. World public opinion means it is opinion of the people of the entire world. So these also influence the foreign policies, the foreign policy of the particular nation. So okay, the world public opinion provides the energy to external environment. It is always changing. It is very difficult to know it unless it becomes very clear and organized. Only if domestic public opinion of many countries combines, it becomes an effective world public opinion. Then it also serves as determinant of foreign policy. No country whosoever powerful can go ever challenging the world public opinion. There are 2 points I will discuss. After that, I will leave you. Please stay in the line. Okay. And the next one is reaction of other state. You know what it is. What is the reaction of other state? Whenever one state attacks us, in reaction to that, the states started to attack the other nations. So in that manner, whenever the one state impose any taxes over our state, in reaction to that, our state impose taxes towards the other state. Okay, for example, you take how the relationship is going on between Trump's USA over the China during this COVID-19. Okay, the reaction of other state. Okay, so that is a reaction of other state. So the foreign policies are also depending upon the reaction of every state. Okay, so states usually never attempt to pursue those interests which are totally opposed to the fundamental interests of the other state. The next one is other external factor. The other external factors that have bearing upon foreign policy are general world conditions, whether tense or relaxed, cold war like or detente like, war prone or peace oriented. Other external factors like health threats. For example, you take this situation, how the COVID-19 changed the entire system, entire world behavior. So most of the countries are angry with the China. Okay, so the external factors, so like environmental problem, like terrorism, arms race, nuclear threats, bio warfare. So these are some of the external threats, external factors. These are also play the major role for determining the foreign policy of the state. Okay, so I believe that, I hope that you will understand about these concepts relating to the foreign policy. In the next class, we will discuss the remaining parts of our subject. And thank you. If you have any doubt, you may ask through the comment box in Google Classroom. Okay.